UFC Fight Night Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira happens in about less than an hour, but time to break it down. Starting off with Muin Gafarov versus Jakub Wiklach. Gonna go with Gafarov. He beat Rinya Nakamura. He showed pretty good, powerful stand-up in that fight, and he had a gritty ability to scrap with Rinya Nakamura. Jakub Wiklach, on the other hand, had a decent performance against Patchy Mix. Schooled him, but I don't rate Patchy Mix as a fighter at all. I think Patchy Mix is terrible as a fighter and should have never even gotten to the UFC. But despite that, I just think Gafarov's going to win. I just saw his performance against Rinya Nakamura a little bit more impressive than Jakub Wiklach. Both of them beat prospects that were hyped at first, with Gafarov being Nakamura and Wiklach being Patchy Mix. But I just rate the win over Rinya Nakamura way more over the win over Patchy Mix, especially the way that they did Gafarov throughout the Rinya fight. Dropped him a bunch of times. I don't know about a bunch of times, but he rocked him with a good overhand right and also head kicked him. Both of those rocked him all over the place, and I just think he looked pretty nice against Rinya Nakamura, so I'm going with Muin Gafarov. Next up, Javid Basharat versus Gianni Vasquez. I'm going to go with Basharat. Even though he got KO'd by Ricky Simone, and even though he got beat by Ayman Zahabi, he has beaten lesser UFC level, and on the other hand, Vasquez hasn't had any UFC experience, with this being his UFC debut, and he also missed weight, so I think missing weight going into your debut means that you probably took it on short notice, and Javi Basharat has already faced lower level UFC competition and shown that he can beat them, so I'm going to go with Basharat. Nikolai Veretnikov versus Nico Price. I'm going to go with Nikolai Veretnikov. He beat Francisco Prado, even though Prado had some problems for him. Prado's pretty decent, I would say. He also had a okay performance against Michael Morales, went to a decision with him. Other than that, I couldn't really find much tape on him. And he just looked like an explosive guy with decent enough striking to beat Nico Price, who on the other hand isn't good in my opinion. I don't think Nico Price is that good at all. He's been chinned by Robbie Lawler in a really weird way, and several other times besides that. Who else was he chinned by? Philip Rowe. And also losing to Themba Garimbo. It's just not looking good for Nico Price. Nikolai Veretnikov has shown recently that he's been able to beat decent UFC comp against Francisco Prado. And Nico Price has been getting chinned and losing to not that good of UFC comp. So I'm going to go with Nikolai Veretnikov. Alex Morono versus Danil Donchenko. I think this is a definite win for Danil. Alex Morono doesn't look good on the feet at all. Just like Nico Price, he's pretty slow and not that crispy on the feet. And he also got TKO'd by Carlos Leal in a really bad way. And Danil Donchenko recently beat someone in his debut. He TKO'd them pretty badly. I forget who it was, but it seemed like Danil was a really explosive guy, and against someone who isn't that crispy on the feet like Alex Morono, I think just Danil's going to go get him. I think there's going to be a hunt on Alex Morono. Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. I think this is an easy win for Jacoby. Jacoby is a good striker. He has pretty crispy kickboxing. He's KO'd Vitor Petrino in a crazy way. And Julius Walker on the other hand took Alonzo Menifield to a split decision and didn't look that good in it anyways. In that first round, he looked like he was getting real sloppy on the feet, and the shots weren't working for him that much, and I don't think they're going to work in this fight either. Even though he's going to be bigger and more physically imposing than Jacoby, I don't think that he's going to be able to get Jacoby down and at least hold him there for that long. Jacoby is a gritty vet who isn't bad on the ground. Had grappling exchanges with Azmat Mirzakhanov and lasted through that for however long it was. And just Julius Walker didn't look good on the feet at all against Alonzo Menifield, who I don't rate at all, who I think just dusting Jacoby would have beat pretty soundly. I think Jacoby's going to probably chin him, honestly. I think he's going to deny the takedowns, and I think he's going to put some crispy hands on him. Then Tajin Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat. I'm going with another Basharat bro. The Basharat bros have a buff going into their fights because they're fighting on the same card. And also, G Matsumoto, he just doesn't look that good necessarily. Like, he's had moments of just looking real nice, but in his fight with Miles Johns, he didn't look that good, and he lost to Rob Font. And he's taken some close decisions to even his wins. On the other hand, Farid Basharat has beaten Chris Gutierrez and has the physical advantage. Like, he's going to be more physically imposing going into this fight. And with the Basharat bro buff, I think he's going to take G Matsumoto down. I think he's going to school him over this fight in a decision win. Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I'm going with Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I think Marc-Andre is just in for a tough one here, because Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is good on the feet, and he's really powerful, especially at middleweight. He's been training with the Fighting Nerds, so that's probably been sharpening his skills. And I just think he's probably going to chin Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre has already been beaten by Shahar Magomedov, who I don't rate at all, even though he's beat Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I think Oleksiejczuk's just going to be able to find the shot that just eventually TKOs or KOs Marc-Andre Barriault, because he's really powerful on the feet and he can find the shot. He has crispy hands. Marc-Andre has just been... He's taken a lot of damage. Got brutally KO'd by Joe Pyfer. Got TKO'd by Dustin Stoltzfus. And I think this is a tough one for him. Powerful guy with Oleksiejczuk at middleweight. I think he's losing it. Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. I'm going with Jailton Almeida. I think this is an easy one. Well, actually, I could see this being a scrap and maybe even Rizvan pulling it off. Because in his fight with Curtis Blades, he looked decent. I just think Curtis Blades looked so bad in that. I think he looked so bad in that fight. And that's all I could really see from Kuniev going into that fight. Or into this fight. But Jailton Almeida has been imposing his grappling among the entire heavyweight division, unless you're Curtis Blades, who TKO'd him with elbows, or if you're Volkov. But didn't? Oh no. They did give Volkov the win. But I mean, I just think Jailton's gonna make improvements coming off of that Volkov loss. I think he's going to be able to get more damage if he takes down Rizvan, which I do think happens. Jailton is a very athletic and powerful dude, and I think he has potential here. I think this is I think it's going to be pretty easy for Jailton. I think it's going to be basically him taking down Rizvan at times. Rizvan might give him adversity and stuff it in like the second or third and show him some problems, but I think Jailton squeaks by with a decision, as always, as he does. Amir Albazi versus Kyoji Horiguchi. The Gooch is getting it done. And Amir Albazi beat Kai Kara-France in a very controversial decision, and he got schooled by Moreno in late 2024. And he's also been riddled with injuries, and Kyoji has been looking pretty good, especially with his most recent performance against Tagir Ulanbekov. It seems like that was a pretty easy fight for Kyoji. And Tagir, even though I think is pretty overrated, I don't think he's bad by any means. And Kyoji also has been beating people in Ryzen, like Manel Cap, who's at the very top of the division. I just think there's a lot more work in for Kyoji than there is for Albazi. I think Kyoji Horiguchi, who also gave adversity to DJ, even though he got subbed in like the very last second of the 5th round, he was showing DJ some adversity. He was like tagging him with shots, and he's a powerful, compact guy for flyweight. I think he's taking this one home. Kyoji Horiguchi climbing up the flyweight division and ending it off with the bantamweight headliner, Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. I think Mario Bautista is going to have a good performance here. Mario Bautista, people forget how good Mario Bautista is. He's coming off of the loss to Umar, who basically won a pretty clear decision on him. But Mario Bautista, I'm pretty sure he dropped Umar really badly in that fight, and people sleep on him. Like, he has crispy hands, he's really technical at times. He was able to beat Jose Aldo, even though that was a very bad way to beat Jose Aldo. But I just think he's going to give Vinicius Oliveira problems. I think Vinicius Oliveira has been he's really powerful. He's a really powerful guy. KO'd Sopaj, beat Kyler Phillips, Said Nurmagomedov, and Ricky Simone. But even Sopaj showed him problems in that fight before he flying kneed KO'd him. And I think Mario Bautista is just more crispy on the feet. Vinicius Oliveira is way more powerful, but he wing shots so much and he misses a lot. I just think Mario Bautista is going to school him. Mario Bautista is a really well-rounded fighter, and it's easy to look past him. I don't think this is going to be an easy fight for Vinicius Oliveira. I think Mario Bautista is going to really put it on him, and I think he's going to win this. He has great cardio, impressive technique, and he showed problems to Umar. He dropped him in that fight and beat Jose Aldo, and he also beat Patchy Mix, schooled him, even though that's not really saying anything. Patchy Mix is terrible, but I just think there's more into Mario Bautista's game than there is to Vinicius Oliveira's. I think Mario's gonna be cardio imposing, volume imposing. I don't think Vinicius Oliveira is going to be able to land the shots to take the rounds from Mario Bautista. So there we go.